Hey guys, what's going on? This is Xenox Gamer here, and today in this video what I want to talk about is my top 5 list of things that if you focus on one of these things or all of them or a combination of whatever, they will inevitably at least make you better at League of Legends in some sort of way. The list isn't in any order. It's not specific to the numbering and anything like that. It's more generalized to what you are good at as a player. If you're very good at CSing and trading and that sort of thing, but your map awareness isn't there, then obviously map awareness is going to be more of a priority for you. So with that being said, keep in mind it is just general basic mechanics and certain things in League that are going to help you be a better player. It's not telling you how to play X champion, but these things are the fundamentals of League of Legends. So let's get into this. Alright, so we'll start off with number 5, and I titled it Proper Builds. Now, what I want to dive into in this one is your abilities, items, masteries, and runes. It's always very important, especially when you know the matchup, if you're doing draft, ranked, or whatever it may be. In just regular normals, it's a little bit harder to do this, because it's completely blind, but making sure that you have the proper runes going for your matchup. If it's going to be something that's hard for you to do, that's very difficult, that normally you would just be able to go, let's say, 21 on offense, and you can switch it up and go 21 in defense, or at least put more points in defense, then it might be a good idea to do that. Especially with your runes as well. If you know you're going to be going up against an AP top, then maybe going health per level yellows might be better for you. It's just an example, right? The one thing I want to point out here as well is, because I'm doing so well in this lane, and Darius isn't really a problem for me, for abilities, what I end up doing is maxing my W second. Now, normally you probably just want to do this anyway just because it increases the damage, but in a lot of cases, if you're getting harassed down as Riven, or a lot of other champions, for instance, like Lee Sin, let's say, maxing your shield as Lee Sin or maxing your shield second as Riven would be more beneficial than getting more damage, because you're going to be able to sustain more in lane, trading and poke isn't going to affect you as much, and it's just going to help you survive. And that's one thing that I feel a lot of players don't think about too much, is when you're in a matchup, it's like, oh, I gotta max Q first, then W, and then E, no matter what, all the time, every matchup. If you want to improve as a player, always looking forward, or looking into what you should probably build and max is definitely going to make a big impact on your gameplay, especially for items. Alright, so number 4 we have positioning. Now, positioning is very important for AD carries, very important for AP carries, but it's also very important for the tanks and the bruisers on your team. If you are a tank or a bruiser and you are in the front line and you're constantly putting yourself in the way of the enemy, then your carry is very safe. They can stand behind you, something like this, Caitlyn. The enemy team doesn't have great focus, but you can see that I'm always in their way, I'm disrupting them. They are having to focus me before they can get to Caitlyn. So that is something, especially for tanks and bruisers, that's very important. It can drastically change how a team fight goes, and it can swing in your favor if your team has really good positioning. Now, for AD carries and AP carries, it's very good to stand behind your tanks and your bruisers and that sort of thing. You don't want to be right in the front, because if you get caught out, that's a big source of damage that's lost. Now, positioning is really hard to get better at. It takes a lot of games. It's something that you always have to keep thinking about, because it's, you know, okay, if I move here, can they grab me? Can Skarner flash ult me? Can Leona E to me? Can she ult me? Can Malphite ult me? I mean, there's a lot of heavy initiation that if you misstep or put your character in a bad position is really going to end up bad for you and your team. In this team fight, there's a few things that go right, and there's a few things that go wrong. Now, I'm trying to make myself the target for the enemy team. I want them to hit me and focus me. I'm decently tanky. What I should have did here is switched on to Master Yi. He got onto my carry. I didn't switch fast enough. I wasn't realizing I was chasing, and our carry died. So I was not putting my character in the position that Cho'Gath should have been in. I should have tried to save my AD carry. Alright, so this brings us into number 3, which I put as communication. Now, there's 2 things I want to touch on with this one, is in-game chat with the control function, and then map with pings and that sort of thing. So, with the in-game chat, There's a few cool things that I like when players do that help me out in my lane, and that's, when you call Mia, when you call SS, whatever it is, that's fantastic. But the one thing that I do like when players do is when they say flash down bottom, or jungler used exhaust, or whatever. Those things really help you out, because if they end up coming to your lane and okay, well, they burned flash, a minute ago, they're not going to have it, you know that you can either push them, get them really low, they're not going to flash. The kind of the boundaries of what that champion can do. So that's a big thing that I like. The other thing as well is telling your team, if you're 200 gold away from IE, it's probably a good idea for you to say that, because generally, if people say that, and I'm playing the game at least, I'll be like, okay, we shouldn't fight because our AD carry is going to get a huge damage boost when they finish that item, so let's just wait for 200 gold. So those things, when you're building up to a final item, Last Whisper maybe, Guardian Angel, something like that, something that's definitely going to help your team fight, or you specifically, it is really good to let your team know that stuff. The other thing is for the map as well. Pings are fantastic, they're great, but pinging and using the chat at the same time, so if you ping Tribush, top or bottom, wherever it is, and you type something like ward, then your jungler is going to know, okay, well, there's no ward there, so I know I can come from Tribush. That's fantastic. Letting your jungler know that kind of stuff, and your team is definitely going to help you win the game, and communication is a big thing. I know it's a lot harder to do sometimes. Some people get frustrated, they rage, there's a lot of trolls and stuff like that, but generally, trying to communicate this stuff is going to be a lot better for you and your team. Now next up we have map awareness. Now the good thing about this is it flows very nicely from communication, because the better you are in map awareness, the better you're going to be at communicating that stuff, provided you do so. So a big thing with map awareness is a lot of people cry, oh, you didn't call Mia, you didn't call SS, you didn't do all this stuff, and it's not so much your responsibility, but the good thing about map awareness is if you are very good at it, then you don't need people to do that. You rely a lot less on your teammates. You don't have to have them call stuff for you to do that, because realistically, if you can look at chat, you can turn your head the other way and start looking at the map a little bit more. And that's just something that is going to make you a better player. You're going to understand the movement of the enemy team a lot easier, and it's going to allow you to make better plays and a lot more informed decisions. And that's something that's very undervalued. And I feel like a lot of players kind of fall into this, oh, well, I warded my lane, but I still got ganked. Well, what happens is you're not actually watching the map. They're so focused on CSing that they never look in the bottom right corner and see what's going on. It's something that a lot of players can start getting better at by playing certain champions like Shen and TF, because their ultimates really rely on players that have good map awareness. If you can understand what's going on and adapt to what's going on in the map, especially with someone like TF or Shen, you can be completely game-changing as a champion and as a player just by watching the map. And you can also inform your team on what's going on. If you can see their jungler moving around because of ward's vision, or they came top, mid, bottom, whatever, and that sort of thing, it flows very nicely into, okay, well, I'm looking at the map, I'm paying attention, I can ping that, I can also type in chat, and it's a good thing to do because you're going to get better at looking at the map, and communication is going to be a little bit better in the team, which hopefully means that you guys don't get caught as much. And I mean, every little thing helps, especially for winning a match. Alright, and that brings me to my fifth and final point, which is CS and trading. Now, they're very important, and a lot of people think, well, how do I get better as a player? I just need to CS more. That's partially true. Having more CS over your opponent is a benefit, but the act of CSing and then trading when they go to CS as well is definitely something that I as a player need to work on, and what a lot of people can work on as well. The lower you can get your opponent in lane while keeping up or getting ahead in CS, the better, because if they go to all in you, if they go to dive you, something like that, you have a way better chance after poking them down. Maybe you've taken away 50% of their health or something like that, or maybe they're less inclined to do that stuff because they are low on HP. So always trying to poke your opponent, trade with them, and CS at the same time is something that I feel a lot of players are not necessarily good at, but something that they never really think about. A lot of people tunnel vision on CS, and in return their map awareness is really low or something like that. Or all they do is fight and then they don't have any CS. So finding a nice balance of, okay, well, it's worth it missing 1 or 2 CS if I can push him out of lane, or if I can trade with him and I'm constantly winning trades, then it's really easy to push them out, make them lose experience and stuff like that, and then you can get back that CS. So it's just something to keep in mind. And as for this video, that's my last point, and leave off with a nice kill on Darius, the dunk master. Alright guys, so that's my top 5 things that I think you should improve on to be a better League of Legends player. They cover a lot of aspects of the basic mechanics and core functions of the game, and I feel that any combination of these things, provided you put enough time and effort into actually making yourself better at them, will help you gain elo, make you a better player overall, and that sort of thing. In this video I do have a new intro, which I really like it. I think it's pretty cool. It's plain simple, it's really quick, it's not anything spectacular. Let me know in the comments if you guys like it or anything like that. And thanks for watching guys. Comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.